Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video with the Argent Moth. Today I'm going to be talking about the possible um the possible new ships that have been announced, and I've written up just like a quick what the trees kind of look like. And so we're going to start off with the American. Alaska has finally been announced. Few people have actually seen it in game, and they say that it is completely and utterly off the roof. I haven't seen it yet, but from the sounds of it, Alaska sounds completely broken. Lexington Tier 6 will not get torpedoes, which is really sad. Because when she was first built, she actually had not twin tubes, but she had quadruple or quad turreted tube launchers. So she had two quad launchers, one on each side, and they were turreted. And so it's really sad that Lexington is not getting her official torpedo tubes. Um, so Lexington tier six, it's already been announced that it's tier six, most likely tier six. It's gonna have no AA. It's basically got no secondary power, from the sounds of it, and it's got no armor. So yeah, this is gonna be a fun fucking ship to play. It's gonna be really really shit by the sounds of it. The only things going for it is speeding guns. It's got 406mm guns at tier 6. It's got 178mm of belt armor. And she does 33 knots. So yeah, enjoy being a XP and credits pinata for everyone. Because everyone can pen you. Literally. I mean, even like some of the tier 6 and 7 battleships have a chance of overpenning you. Overpenning your Citadel, for crying out loud. USS Constellation is the USS Lexington, but I would like to see her at tier 7, possibly with the triple tubes, or quad tubes or whatever. Just give us some torpedoes at tier 7. USS Congress is a USS Alaska, but instead of having the 3 triple guns, she has 1 triple turret and 2 dual turrets, but with the 305s. And then, of course, we got the USS Alaska at tier 9. And then we got USS Puerto Rico, which is a USS Alaska with 1 extra turret. So instead of 9 305s, she has 12 305s. And this is the battle cruiser line. And I really do hope that they take this into consideration and actually look at it, because it'll be really sad if they make the Lexington just as a crappy premium. Because from the sounds of it, it sounds like she's utter dog shit. That's what she sounds like. She sounds like she's rubbish. Um, so, um, honestly, if she becomes premium, I won't be getting her. Because what's the point of getting a ship where the armor is so fucking weak? You've got basically no secondary power, so you can't fight DDs that well. Um, you're quick, but you've probably got a horrendous rudder shift time, and you've got a huge turning radius. Um, and your main guns are probably absolute dire, because the Colorado's, because you got to remember the USS Lexington is basically just a really quick Colorado. That's basically what she is. She's got the same guns. And so at tier 6, she's probably gonna have even worse stats for her guns. So yeah, enjoy this rather disappointing sounding ship. USS Constellation, if they actually add a battle cruiser line, this is how I think they should put it. Really, this is how I think they should put it. USS Constellation could be the later blueprint model of the USS Lexington, one that I showed in my last video. That's the USS Constellation, and if they actually add this in with her torpedoes and with her secondary guns, I honestly think that people will not be as probably, I would say, annoyed. Um, because if they just add the USS Lexington as a crappy tier 6 battle cruiser, which has no gimmicks, that's gonna be quite disappointing. Um, really. And then they're probably gonna be disappointed that no one's gonna be playing this ship, and then yeah. I think that they should just make an entire line of of these of from tier 6 up to tier 10, and not just waste all their resources on one ship, which quite honestly sounds like it's going to turn out to be an utter failure. But USS Constellation, if they add this in as a tier 7, sounds like she would be good. USS Congress, um, basically, the guns on the USS Congress, Alaska, and Puerto Rico are just better versions of the Colorado's guns. Of course, they're smaller size, but and you guys may be asking, oh, why are you going from 406 mm guns to 305? Well, that's because the United States Navy, their battle cruisers were, should I say, they when they saw pictures of the hood, they wanted to build something like the hood. That's where the Lexington came in. Of course, the Lexington is armed with even bigger guns than the hood. Um, and so your Lexington and Constellation, the Constellation is part of the Lexington class, but the Constellation, honestly, I think the Constellation should just get the upgraded version, really. Lexington could be tier 6, and then Constellation could be tier 7, and then you go to the more modern battle cruisers, and these are considered battle cruisers. I mean, they are considered large cruisers as well, but they're considered battle cruisers as well. So USS Congress is an Alaska which is missing 2 guns. So she has 2 dual turrets and 1 triple turret. And she has the same guns as Alaska, so at tier 8, she's going to have a lot of punching power. Not as much as the Alaska, but she's still going to have quite a lot of punching power. And then, of course, we get to the Alaska, which is a dulled down version of the Iowa. Um, so, she'll play both pretty well. And then, of course, the USS Puerto Rico, which basically doesn't even have a citadel. In one of the warships, her citadel is below the waterline, so you can't really citadel her. But in this game, I hope that they, make the citadel, able to citadel her. And so basically, the Puerto Rico is basically a dulled version of the Montana. And so I hope that the Battlecruiser line looks like this. And if they're just going to release the USS Lexington as it is now, by the sounds of it, it's just going to make it so unattractive. Like, no one's going to get it. No one. Not a single person. I don't think not a single person is going to get the USS Lexington. Not from what I've heard. That it's basically it's got no AA power. It's got basically no secondary power. It's got no armor. It's quick. But she also has 406 mm guns, which means she's going to overmatch so many bloody things. So many things. 406 is just going to overmatch Omahas, it's going to overmatch Pensacolas, it's going to overmatch, the Alba, and the only thing that she can really, really punish is, well, the battleships, really. So we'll see how it goes, and if they do change their mind and give her at least something, some kind of gimmick, like maybe her torpedo tubes, then yeah, that'll be awesome. Some people have said that the torpedo tubes are underwater torpedoes. That's not true. They are turreted torpedoes. So they're right at right at the stern of the ship, and they are quadruple launched torpedoes. So we'll see how it goes. And if they release Lexington as a rather rubbish, unattractive ship, then it's their loss, really. It is honestly their loss. And, well, I mean, they'll just have to think of how they're going to release the USS Lexington. Because it doesn't make sense that they'll release the USS Lexington and the USS Alaska as just singled out ships. It doesn't make sense. There must be, an entire line of battle cruisers. And I hope that, if they look at this video, I hope that they, take this into consideration and think, oh, hang on a minute, this guy actually has a pretty good idea. Why don't we put in a, a USS Lexington which has the later model as Tier 7, and then get the Alaska, make two dual turrets, pull it at Tier 8, and then get the Alaska again, make it a bit longer, give it an extra triple turret, and then pull it at Tier 10. I mean, come on. Like, seriously, come on. Just do it. That would make people happy. Having a line where you have a bit less armor, but you are a lot quicker than, your typical battleship. And you have a bit of gimmick, like torpedoes and whatnot. So I'm going to move on to the German tech tree now. And this is where it gets a bit interesting. Now, I just did German tech tree for, for laughs and giggles and whatnot. So Tier 1, I had to think this quite carefully, actually, because, Tier 1, the Japanese have the horrifically overpowered Tier 1. The Chinkuma. That thing is just ridiculous. Anyway, Tier 1, we've got the SMS Dresden, which is kind of like a St. Louis in a way, but not really. And then, of course, we've got the SMS Kolberg, and then the SMS Kohlschrew. If there's any Germans watching this video, I do apologize if I'm butchering these names. So Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, Tier 4, we can have the SMS Koenigsberg. Tier 6, this is a bit of an odd one because, 283mm guns or 11-inch guns for Tier 6. But, give her like a really long reload, like maybe 25-second reload or something. Graf Spee. She only has 2 turrets, and each turret holds 3 guns. And then you've got SMS York, which is kind of like an Admiral Hipper, but instead of having like 203mm guns, she has 210mm guns. They're a bit bigger, but they're quite a bit more underwhelming, really. Like maybe they could have the Hipper at Tier 7 and then the York at Tier 8 or whatever. And then for hang on. Tier 6. Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I know the Graf Spee is Tier 5, I do apologise. And then the York could be Tier 7. The Hipper could be Tier 7. The York is Tier 6, and the Hipper could be Tier 7. The Hindenburg could be Tier 8. And then the SMS Heinland could be Tier 9. And the SMS Hamburg could be Tier 10. The Heinland and the Hamburg are basically like super cruisers. So the Heinland has 3 of the Graf Spee guns. And then the Hamburg has 4 of the Graf Spee guns. I think the Hamburg has 3 or 5s. And then the Heinland also has 3 or 5s. So I'm not entirely sure. And then, of course, we get to the battleships. SMS Nassau for Tier 3. SMS Helgoland for Tier 4. And then for Tier 5 will be the SMS Coin. Tier 6, Baden, obviously, because everybody's seen it already. SMS Gneisenau for tier 7. And then for tier 8 could be the Bismarck, of course, famous Bismarck. For tier 9 could be the SMS H-41. It's basically like a Bismarck armed with 406mm guns. And then for tier 10 will be the H-42, which is, again, like a Bismarck armed with 420mm guns. And the H-41 and the H-42 both, I hope to God, they both get their historical torpedoes. And if they don't, this is going to cause quite an upstir. I mean, Wargaming has already broken the promise long ago of not adding torpedoes to the Frederick de Grobe and the Grosser Kurfürst, because they both should have gotten torpedoes, but they didn't get torpedoes. So yeah, so this is how I think it will go out, really. I'm really concerned about the Lexington and the Alaska, because it sounds like they're gonna just become like premiums. Like the Alaska is gonna be blatantly overpowered, and then the Lexington is just gonna be stupidly underpowered. Some people will disagree and say, "Oh, the Lexington has 406mm guns." I know that, but you're talking about moving basically a really fast Colorado down to tier 6, and the Colorado is already inaccurate enough with her guns. And moving her down to tier 6, they're just going to make her even more inaccurate. So, see how that goes. But if they do actually make a line like this, and make the Lexington and the Alaska as tech tree ships, then let's see how that goes, really. Because I'm quite worried about this. This, to be honest. If they do confirm that they are actually going to add them as tech 2 ships, I will be quite interested to see what they add for tier 7, 8, and 10. It'll be quite interesting to see what they add in. My guess is that they will add what I've put, because the Americans don't really have much of battle cruisers. But if they do add what I've put, then that'd be awesome. That'd be really awesome. I will be questioning if they put the Congress at tier 7, because the Congress is just basically an Alaska with 2 less guns. So we'll see how that goes. And if it goes well, yeah. But at the same time, putting the Lexington at tier 6 has me thinking, are they really going to put the USS Constellation or an upgraded version of the USS Lexington at tier 7? Because then that would make sense. But if they're not, and they're just going to stick USS Lexington as a premium, they're not going to sell any. I mean, because from the sounds of it, it sounds really, really crap. With hardly no secondary power, no AA, really crap armor. It just sounds like an awful ship. It just sounds like a ship you could just farm to death. So we'll see how that goes. And being at tier 6, it's like, you think, oh yeah, tier 6, this could be a top dog in the mid tier. Well, no, because there's one ship which is already blatantly overpowered, and that's the Cleveland. The Cleveland would just feast on this thing. It really would. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy this video, give it a thumbs up. If you did not enjoy this video, give it a thumbs down. Put in the comment section what you think about the introduction of possible American battle cruisers and the German tech tree. And put in the comment section, would you change anything? Because I would really like to see your comments on what I think. How they are. But if you think that I should change anything, post it in the comments. Peace.